Have you ever felt someone pushing your buttons just to see you lose control? Have you ever sensed they were feeding on your reaction, as if your anger or fear was exactly what they wanted? What if every one of those reactions is a tiny victory for them and a quiet defeat for you? Yes. Calmness is not passivity, it is power. And understanding how to stay calm when they want you to break is how you take that power back. There is something chilling about the way a trigger can feel like an invisible hand reaching into your chest. It matters because people who provoke you rarely do so by accident. They aim precisely at your weakest spots, and they do it for a reason: to control the emotional landscape between you. Too often we believe these moments are unpredictable or chaotic, when in reality, they follow a clear pattern. Psychologists have long studied what drives this kind of behavior. Some people grow up learning that stirring up a fight is the most direct way to feel in control. Others carry wounds from trauma or neglect that make them hypersensitive to losing their grip. Researchers describe these manipulative tactics as a form of emotional regulation. They provoke you so they can feel grounded. It is an unconscious strategy most of them learned in childhood long before they had words for it. And because this pattern feels so familiar, they repeat it without ever truly seeing what they do. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to escalate whenever you try to stay calm? The first reason is that your emotional steadiness threatens the story they want to tell. One where they are the stable one, and you are the one losing control. Every raised voice, every harsh reply, gives them ammunition. They provoke you because they need you to react. When you do, they feel vindicated. Imagine a partner who nitpicks endlessly, waiting for you to snap so they can say, "See, you're the angry one." This is the game played over and over until you believe that version of yourself too. They want you to dance to their rhythm, because as long as you do, they lead. And here lies a deeper insight. Your reactions can feel automatic, like a reflex. That's because they often touch on very old wounds. Maybe you were told as a child that you were too much, too loud, too emotional. Maybe someone close to you punished you for your feelings, and so you learned to react quickly just to protect yourself. Emotional triggers often hide these personal histories. Understanding this doesn't excuse their behavior, but it shows you that part of the power they hold is the story you already believe about yourself. Once you see that, the trap begins to lose its edge. Have you noticed how calm can feel impossible in the heat of the moment? That is by design. Emotional manipulators often come at you when you are most tired, most vulnerable, most off balance. Think of the coworker who brings up a sensitive issue right before a big presentation, or the partner who picks a fight after you have had a long day. It is not a coincidence. It is a strategy. Researchers in emotional psychology call this contextual priming, creating an environment where you are more likely to break. They do not need to plan every detail. They only need to recognize when you will be easiest to tip. So you may ask, what happens if you do not tip? What happens if, even in that moment of exhaustion or surprise, you stay grounded? This is where the true shift begins. Staying calm under fire feels like disarming a trap, slowly and carefully, even while someone is leaning on the trigger. It is never about denying your feelings or going blank inside. It is about seeing their behavior clearly enough that you do not take it personally. It is about recognizing that they need your explosion more than you do. Have you ever wondered why walking away feels so much harder than engaging? It is because staying calm in the face of provocation requires you to give up the short-term satisfaction of proving yourself right. It asks you to value your long-term peace more than the fleeting relief of a comeback. That is why it is difficult. Every part of you that is aching to defend itself must stand down, at least for a moment. Studies on self-regulation and impulse control show that this skill can be built like a muscle. By practice, by patience, by knowing your triggers before they ever surface. And what if, instead of seeing these situations as unpredictable tests, you began to see them as predictable patterns? Imagine recognizing the setup as it unfolds. The loaded comment, the sigh, the subtle dig, and feeling your breath grow slower as they wait for you to jump. Every pause you take is a quiet reclaiming of your own narrative. Every refusal to play into their hands is a small but significant victory. They may never thank you for it. They may never even acknowledge that you saw their game, but you will know. And knowing is enough. There is an important truth that often stays hidden until you speak it aloud. You cannot control how someone else behaves, but you can control whether you give them the reaction they want. That is the heart of this. Staying calm is not about suppressing who you are. It is about choosing who you will let shape you. If someone's power lies in your upset, then your calm is your freedom, and that freedom is never as far away as it might feel. Every breath you take before responding, every time you choose not to justify yourself, every time you refuse to match their intensity, these are the small, deliberate choices that return your power to where it belongs. You do not need to change them. You only need to remember that they do not control you unless you let them. And so the next time you feel someone reaching for your weakest spot, take a slow breath. See the pattern clearly. Let them do what they do, and allow yourself to do something different. Trust that your calm is louder than their chaos. Trust that by staying grounded, you make their tactics visible. And when something is visible, it loses its sting. You do not have to fight to win. Sometimes the greatest strength is found in simply choosing not to fight at all. Let them swing into empty air. And in that empty space, you will feel the quiet certainty that you are still your own. That is the unspoken power they cannot take. Protect your energy. Stay curious. Subscribe for more from Beneath the Cortex.